But for now, let's welcome our next guest, Dr. Catherine Shanahan. She's a board-certified family physician. She trained in biochemistry and genetics at Cornell University's Graduate School, all before attending Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we're talking about aging gracefully. And in your book, you talk about, in your best-selling book, actually, you talk about the 4 nutritional things that are good rules of thumb for younger people as well as for older people. I'd like you to talk, just mention what those 4 things are, and then we'd like to talk a little bit about which ones are most important to focus on as you get older.
So the 4 pillars of world cuisine we are talking about are fresh food, like food that hasn't been cooked, fermented and sprouted food, like yogurt and sprouted grain breads, meat on the bone, so like chicken bones, boiling that for soup stock, and organ meats.
Okay.
And that's everybody's favorite.
And a lot of this is because generally cooking and processing food takes away a lot of the nutrients, correct?
Well, absolutely. And you know what? Our philosophy when we wrote the book, Deep Nutrition, Why Your Genes Need Traditional Food, was that we have to do what our ancestors did because that's what our genes are expecting. And so we boiled down what all traditional cuisines do, no matter where in the world, into these 4 common elements.
Mm-hmm. So now as people age, what are the most important components of this that they need to focus on? When you're younger, you can get away with a lot of stuff. You could eat junk food, you don't gain weight, your blood pressure doesn't move at all. But as you get older, all that stuff starts to affect us.
So really the most important is to eat fresh food because you're talking about food that's going to have antioxidants in it. And a lot of the most immediate benefits that you can ever experience are by reducing the inflammation in your body, because inflammation is what accelerates the aging process.
Uh-oh, I hear a gluten conversation coming up here.
Well, you know what? It's so funny that you bring that up because actually gluten is kind of a little bit of a boogeyman. It's like the gluten is actually just a protein, and what my husband and I, who's my co-author, focus on as being the most pro-inflammatory foods that everyone needs to avoid, whether or not they have a gluten intolerance, are the vegetable oils, because these foods compose 80% of the average American's fat calories, unless they're purposefully going out of their way to avoid them or cooking almost everything at home from scratch. And these vegetable oils are so pro-inflammatory, particularly for the brain, because our brain is made out of 50% fat by dry weight, that it really rapidly accelerates the aging process in the brain. And if a person who doesn't already have Alzheimer's or any kind of memory problems, gets these out of their diet, like 100%, and starts eating a lot more fresh foods and the other 3 pillars, I can practically guarantee that you are making your brain almost dementia-proof, almost Alzheimer's-proof.
So in the 30 seconds we have left, I stepped on you there, but yeah, I notice even now my ankles swell a little bit more quickly than they did 20 years ago. So this anti-inflation is important. Top things people should avoid other than just gluten to prevent inflammation.
The vegetable oils are the #1 most important thing that everybody needs to avoid. And so that is soy, sunflower, cottonseed, corn, canola, and safflower oil. Those are the 6 most common vegetable oils. And if you start looking for them in foods like mayonnaise and chips, microwave popcorn, you're going to find them in just about everything. It goes a long way to explain why people are getting diseases that we never did before.
I don't know. It's overwhelming. Soy used to be good. Now it's bad. Dr. Shanahan, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back here on The Income Generation. I'm David Scranton. We'll be right back.